They say out of 120 members of our parliament or Knesset, there are 7 women plus Golda Meir. You don't need much more advertising for women's lib than that, really. Now, there has been a tradition in our country in the pioneering phase of complete women's participation in careers of all kinds.
Well, from what I have, not my own knowledge, but what I have been told that's going on, that they are accepting young teenage girls that their parents don't even know anything about it, and they're not educated to what's going on. And I think the parent should be educated to what Planned Parenthood has to offer for these young girls before they can become eligible for the benefits.
What would you like to see in place of this outreach program? Would it be sex education workshops?
I would like to see a sex education workshop and then let it grow into Planned Parenthood. And in the sex education program, it should be made up of the mothers or daughters or parents and the daughters for the sake of their health.
We'll be using the present executive committee to go out and recruit precinct chairmen to where we can get precinct chairmen like for the 74 primaries. And after we do that, then it'll be trying to divide it into 4 different areas. But mainly we'll have to try to go on fundraising in order to get this. And it's going to be a problem trying to get out there and you know, raising money.
President William Tolbert was a minister before he was a president, so for him it's nothing out of the ordinary to deliver a Sunday morning sermon, even today. Back home in Liberia, he still preaches at his own church. And each Sunday on this 3-week American tour, he's filled a pulpit, first in San Francisco, then in New York. On this day, he and his official party walked from their hotel over to the First Baptist Church so he could preach again. First Church in Dallas is the largest Baptist church anywhere, about 18,000 members. A lot of important people come here, but this was the first time the preacher was the head of a foreign government. President Tolbert, though, didn't speak as a president. He spoke as a minister about evangelism and brotherhood and about the unity of all people. Jack Hill, Channel 8 News on the Move.
Well, I couldn't give you a yes or no on Joe Green, for example, because the season is not here yet. However, we are going through the same preparation for Dwayne to play that we're going through for Chuck Beatty, for example, with St. Louis. So our intentions and Dwayne's intentions are to play.
missionaries to shine that men.
You know, can't get too involved in them working. Yeah. So it's going to take a lot of my time, just, you know, have that helping me pass literature and working in the community and stuff like that to do. Being county chairman and all, I know that I'll try to do my best. Kids and my mother, I think I'll make it. Because, well, my mother will be babysitting. I'm sure we'll be.
Stimulate the continuation of research.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Basically, we're doing that.
"35-year-old Wayne Rothberg is single and the father of an 11-year-old adopted son, Mickey. Mr. Rothberg, the owner of his own business, has had Mickey since he was a year old. He went through the diaper changing and bottle washing alone, and today on Father's Day 10 years later, the two Rothberg men are doing what they like to do most, being together.
We have a lot of fun. We do a lot of things that make up for it. We have his grandmother and his aunt that help us out and do a lot of things that give a lot of feminine touch. Really, nowadays, you can't say ambitions for a child. You just let them take over for themselves and try to guide them in the right way. Trying to teach them right and wrong, and trying to teach them that to respect other people and other people's property and lives. I don't regret it. I never have. I don't know what I'd do without him. Sometimes I don't know what I'd do with him. But he's my boy, and there's nothing else to it.
Abner, we learned today that you and your company are trying to handle some negotiations for Dwayne Thomas and maybe some other pro football players here in town, including some of the Dallas Cowboys.
That's correct. We have been associated with Dwayne since we both attended high school at Lincoln, and we have a history together of trust, and we have gotten together and trying to work out his contract with San Diego at the present time.
Now, in the past, during your playing career, a lot of people labeled you as a rebel, and I'm sure the last couple of years a lot of people have labeled Dwayne as a rebel. But somebody might say it's easy for two rebels to get along with one another. But the way we understand it, you also have some pro people who are all-American good guys, so to speak.
Well, I think you called a lot of things, particularly when people don't have all the facts or have all the information. And they might read something or hear something that might be secondhand. Dwayne is no different from the president of General Motors or any corporation in town. He's here to make a living until he dies, and he wants to take care of his family. And I'm the same way. I have a family that I desire to take care of, like the man that owns this station.
Peaches or something like that. That's what I've been intending to show you about good nutrition. Okay, food for fitness. You have your green vegetables there, and your little salt, and they're all tender. Okay. And you put all your meat, just part it. Just part. Dip it out with your spoon, darling. Don't put it on your rice.
girls, go ahead. Well, here. Everyone is here. All lawyers, everyone. Okay, we're ready.
You know, we do one. Do one. What the hell? June's doing there. Huh?
They put that one They put it on, you're doing it wrong.
Harry. Take the saddle off. You gotta straighten the saddle blanket out. You gotta straighten the saddle up.
Dallas School Superintendent Dr. Nolan Estes and School Board President Farrah Ray are in Austin today to testify in public hearings to muster support for a special session to revamp Texas' system of public school financing. Estes will be asking that school districts be supported by the wealth of the state as a whole and not local school districts. Some Dallas area legislators say that public hearings are futile since the governor has said he would not call a special session. The superintendent of the Irving Public Schools, Dr. J.F. Townley, who will testify tomorrow, says that at least it's worth a try to get the matter settled.
It's my opinion that a special session would be the one good way to handle this problem and do away with it once and for all.
Are you going to run into problems this year without having the school financing problem settled?
In Irving, we have some problems, as our neighbors in Dallas County have. I don't think they're insurmountable, but certainly we'd like to solve this problem as early as we can.
What we'd really like to do here, I think, and I think GD goes along with this, is that we would like to continue this F-111 contract through 1976 at the rate of one airplane per month. This is a small item in the total overall defense budget. It's something like $175 million per year. And we would like to see this continued through 1976, primarily, well, there are two reasons. One, by that time, you'll have a decision on the B-1, the only replacement for the F-111 that's in the future that we know about. And secondly, that would give GD time to diversify into other defense contracts.
And the head of the nursing department in an attempt to resolve the problem.
Basically from the record. Basically.
help elect someone for something or other reads this sign on R.L. Thornton Freeway. Well, at least one enterprising sign company is ready for what appears to be an election every 30 days or so. The U.S. Supreme Court spoke today about legislative and congressional elections in the state of Texas. But exactly what they meant is almost up for grabs. That's why on News 8 at noon today, I turned to Dallas attorney Earl Luna for an explanation. He's not only county Democratic chairman, but a recognized constitutional authority. So in the words of Mr. Luna as he continued, we may not have redistricting by the lines drawn by that three-judge panel, but we're going to have something very close to it. This is Jim Mitchell, Channel 8 News on the Move.
Girls started having trouble.
Around 5 minutes.
Sarah Smith was dead on arrival at Parkland Hospital, and 11-year-old Jewel Sweat is reported to be in critical condition. For Channel 8 News on the Move, this is Betty Hausman.
This generator is basically functioning to generate steam from hydrogen and oxygen to run a turbine. It'll basically furnish high temperature, high pressure steam to run a turbine.
What about air pollution or noise pollution as a result of this kind of engine?
From the air pollution aspect, it will be almost entirely pollution-free. Its products will be almost pure water.
What are the uses that this generator might be put to?
This could be used for almost anything that a current internal combustion engine is used for, such as the power plant for an automobile, the engine for an automobile.
13-year-old Sarah Smith was the sixth child to drown in a Dallas swimming pool during the last week. She and a companion were swimming at the Commodore Apartments in the 3900 block of Simpson Street. Like several pools at apartment houses in the area, this pool was unprotected and unattended. The other children at the pool said that the two girls were having a good time, but suddenly drifted into water that was too deep for them.
By the way, is a water jacket, and then we've got the actual burner for the hydrogen and oxygen, which would fit right on top of these. Drop the bolts in here.
Is there any danger in using hydrogen in a large, those little black reels?
The little black
areas, if there's any danger of explosion?
We could turn them, but this is to regulate the pressure right before we got the main throttle right over.
Okay.
He wants us to go ahead and do it?
Right.
All right. These are the oxygen and
that I was a credit to the judicial system but never lose respect for the awesome power over human life.
Of Criminal Court number 5. So help me God. So help me God. Thank you very much.
Not really. No, I think statistics over here is something that's accepted with being a goalkeeper. You know, everybody's so impressed with a goalkeeper's statistics, but to me, you know, I'm just part of a team, and you know, as long as we're winning, that's the main thing. I feel last year, well, I don't think I've ever let as many goals in as I have this year, but I'm still happy, and I don't think defensively we're playing as well as last year, but we're scoring more goals, and that's a lot more exciting for the fans to come along and see a 4-2 or a 5-4 game than, you know, see me get a shutout, because to me that's not important. It really isn't.
Kenny, the team seems to have gelled now. It's in first place in the division in the soccer league. this is basically, or to a large extent, the same team that won it in 1971. Do you have a little bit more confidence in the people you're playing with this year than you have in the past? Or, you know, Kyle's really coming along, and Ricky Reynolds came over and scored 4 goals in 2 games. Does this help you as a goalkeeper in your mental attitude?
Yeah, I think the last 3 years that I've been here, you know, it's been so much pressure as a goalkeeper because we've never really scored many goals. You know, we've gone into games 0-0 or 1-0 or 2-1, and that's so close. And a goalkeeper just can't relax. And this year, you know, Kyle's come along, he's just doing tremendous, you know. And it's Ricky Reynolds, he's playing well. And I'd like to take this chance to say, you know, Kyle is a perfect example for any American boy.
One of the areas where the Extension Service is making its most noticeable impact is the expanded nutrition program. Mrs. Richard James, mother of 2 small children, is among 800,000 Texans learning to upgrade her nutritional standards while cutting the amount she spends for food by half. During the 4 years since the program began, nearly 10,000 Dallas inner-city families have prospered from the visits of program aides like Mrs. Odessa Gwynn. Over a period of months, the aide shops, cooks, and lectures the homemaker until she has significantly improved her family's diet, money management, and elements of good family living in general.
We've gone from $20 a week to $9 for the basics, and then when I buy soap and powder and that kind of stuff, it goes up to $16.
What's been the major benefit of the program to your family, in addition to saving money?
We're eating a tremendous amount better. We have more variety. We have fruit as well as meat, and we're not always hamburger and chicken. We occasionally have a roast and pork chops and things like that.
Has this affected your cooking habits in any way?
Yes, quite a lot. I used to dread coming in the kitchen, and I just, you know, the nearest thing I could get a hold of I'd put on the table, and that was it. But now I enjoy coming in the kitchen, and I cook good meals.
The expanded nutrition program has made a world of difference in the lives of thousands of Texas families. It's just one more way that the Texas A&M Extension Service is expanding its scope to help urban dwellers. Iola Johnson reporting for Channel 8 News on the Move.
It was Monday afternoon at the movies for a Dallas County jury today. The movie was Paper Moon, and the screening was to determine whether or not the new Peter Bogdanovich film should bear a not suitable for young persons label. Judge Ted Aiken ruled this morning that the city had a constitutional right to place labels on locally viewed movies. The trial resulted from a challenge by Paramount Pictures Corporation and General Cinema Corporation of the not suitable classification dictated for the film by the Dallas Motion Picture Classification Board. The film producers and distributors filed non-acceptance of the not suitable classification, forcing the city of Dallas to seek court action. National film reviewers have called Paper Moon great fare for the whole family. Our movie reviewing jurors will decide tomorrow whether that's true for children under 16 in Dallas. For Channel 8 News on the Move, this is Judy Hanna.
Well, if somebody had told Jerwin Burke a couple of months ago that he'd be out in the country here milking a cow, you probably could have knocked him over with a feather, but that's what Jerwin is doing here, as you can see. Jerwin's out at summer camp. This is a little more than the ordinary summer camp. This is summer camp for city-fied boys to learn the ways of the country. Now, milking a cow is something they just don't seem to have time to teach during the regular school term, and I think you'll agree that the experience of pulling and squirting and watching like this is far better than just reading about milking in a textbook. Camp Olana is on part of the grounds of the old Mount Carmel Seminary in Oak Cliff. Winston Murphy decided the land could be put to good use as a kids' summer camp. But Murphy wanted to do more than just put some seminary grounds to good use.
Always been interested in boys, and it seems that there's more boys in the city than there are in the country that's interested in the nature and the things we have on the farm.
Well, let me ask you this. In this modern world of ours, does a kid really need to know how to milk a cow or to ride a horse? Is that sort of stuff really valuable anymore?
it seems to be that it's very valuable to the boys. They all seem to enjoy it. It keeps them out of trouble.
Perhaps future generations will just read about things like saddling a horse or milking a cow. Perhaps our future holds wide open spaces for us only if we're in some sort of Skylab program. Yes, this kind of summer education may be more valuable than these city kids think. It's probably even good experience for some of us adults. Okay, Jerwin, you got to milk the cow, so I get to get on the horse. Okay. Perhaps there is a lure to the life of the country. Well, for Channel 8 News on the Move, this is Arch Campbell. Okay, horse, we can go now. That way. Okay, horse.
You have to understand that this program was set up specifically for the less fortunate, the indigenous, welfare recipients, these people. Now, when you start washing them out, what are you doing? You're playing a game with the program, and you're playing a game with people, the numbers game, they call it.
This taller girl, when she jumped in, and she tried to save her, but she couldn't swim neither. And then her brother jumped in and grabbed her by the waist while she had the other girl by the waist. And then I got him by the waist, somebody had me by the waist, but we couldn't get her. So I lost my breath, so everybody had came up. And then my uncle, then the other man right there, he tried to save her, but he started drowning too. And so my uncle, he jumped in, he got the girl, the two girls and him out.